World of YouTube, Terrified here. As you can see, my chapters are growing. I might be on a chapter 7 in this story. I had to rewrite chapter 4, so that is finished and complete. We move on to chapter 5. And as you can see here, got chapter 6. And I believe I am done. So yeah, I'm going to be going into probably a chapter 7. But yeah. Very proud of this story. I mean, considering, like I said on my Scream 6 review, a lot of Hollywood movies are coming out with just random ideas from other movies. I would love to get one of my short stories even looked at or even thought of. Because I can tell you now that, I mean, even though I would say maybe some of it would sound like to somebody, oh, that sounds like another movie, but I believe that all my stuff that I've written so far, most of it, I can guarantee, I try and keep it original. Eddie Van Halen once said that he stopped listening to music after Eric Clapton. I guess he used to like Eric Clapton and listen to him, but he said it best when he said he lost all, reality with music-wise, listening to other artists, guitarists, so forth, even though that man can play any song and make it better. Yeah, he said he lost all, shut the whole world out, went into his own world, and that's right. And that's where he masterpieced every little piece that he came out with. Masterpiece, especially not, learning from a book, learning from a teacher. He self-taught himself. And that right there, man, is very amazing. But anyways, perfect, and I quote, lost touch with everything, like me reading books. I mean, I tried reading books of horror and stuff when I was younger, but due to the fact that, man, I don't know, man, I just fall asleep. Or, but then again, I'm thinking, what if someone thinks I put this in my story? Or, I mean, when I was in jail, I read a few books. One of them I still got very in my head of the pictures that I put, the images, the imagery that I put into the story. I still got fond memories of what I was thinking of how I looked at that book and how it looked to me. So, I mean, reading a book, and if you try to become a writer, there's things in other books, some writers probably do, just like Hollywood. Oh, that was a good idea in that movie. Let me put it differently in this way. And I don't like doing that. And I fell apart from going into other books and reading. And I mean, I was tempted to buy H.P. Lovecraft book. But I was like, nope, I don't even want to do. Even though I've listened to some audio books on YouTube. And right, he has words in his books, I tell you, that are not used anymore. And that's what makes it very unique now. But, yeah, anyways, but just the mere thought of going into his books and then all of a sudden come out with, oh, you wrote that, stole that from what's his name? No, I refuse to read books. I mean, I just take the words that I know, what I think would be scary. And in this story, man, I'm using, of course, a lot of the Native American stuff because I want to rewrite history. I want to make history non-existence with the Native Americans and what everybody wrote about them. Because it's sick and disturbing that everybody that wrote about them back in the day was calling them savages, but yet, the people that came over here were savages to them and sold them to slavery. And it only goes to show why, the natives did what they did. And I am very intrigued and, very, how can I say it, respectful. Not only that, am I very intrigued to have learned about the Skinwalker, and the only reason why is because of the dream I had when I was a teenager. And, as I was thinking about that too, man, when I was thinking about that dream and someone had mentioned it, maybe them are Skinwalkers, because I'm thinking dogs from hell. Or, anything from Satan, but it wasn't. It was Skinwalkers that came into my dream. And why do I say this? And it never dawned on me either. In ways, because when I was in the dream and this guy was running a junkyard, he's talking about, do not cross that chain, or something bad will happen to you. And I'm thinking, what? So I don't know, I'm in like I said, a Ford Pinto, going to get parts for this sucker. And a 79 Pinto, right? Had a little bubble porthole window on the back. I said, oh, watch this. So I stuck the front of the car under the chain. And as soon as that happened, and I backed up to turn around to go back to the pile I passed, a Ford Pinto was sitting there. Right, the friggin' junkyard started to fill up with water. The car was ruined, got destroyed. All of a sudden, I see this chain overhead. I don't know what happened to the two guys, but I'm hanging off this chain. And these mutilated dogs start jumping out of the water, barking, trying to grab me with arms and bite me and say, wow, what the hell is that? Skinwalkers, sacred land, what I was told not to go on. So, putting that into that perspective, man, and, hearing about the Pukwudgie and all these ancient creatures that were made. Hell, like I say, I even think Bigfoot was made, or even, I don't know, somehow connected to the Native Americans. But that's what I've been using in my stories, and you do not see enough of that in movies. And that's why I'm bringing forth my stories. And this would be great for Hollywood, because all these Native American movies and cowboys and Indians and blah, 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 always fighting each other, killing each other. No, how about we put it in perspective of what it's supposed to be? That these white men, as they call them, came to our land and started ruining it, destroying it, and so forth, right? Making a mockery of it, and then starting to make the people pay. And that's where it leads us today. If it wasn't for, all this money and greed from the past, we wouldn't have accelerated or had this happen today, and now everything's out of control. As you can see, inflation is as high as it's been. I wouldn't be surprised if we went back into a, second world depression. And and I threw all the stuff in my house that I helped this gentleman clean out from the first depression. Should have saved the stuff now, shouldn't have I? Another depression. A lot of stuff going down right now that don't look good. All the wars breaking out, Notre Dame, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, But all in all, folks, oh boy. That's why I bring myself to my world. Make my thoughts, my theories, my ideas, my short stories, my lyrics. And bring it all to you. when I might not even be able to play my lyrics one day, or let alone I might not even get a book published. But at least I threw it up on here, and hopefully one day maybe Hollywood would write it. I gotta get a nice fresh movie. So, without further ado, Chapter 5 of Trifold Dressing Walls. And like I said, if you haven't read the first 4, you need to get back there and check it out. Other than that, let's begin. And I need to remember I say this all the time. There's nothing more than a person's imagination to run wild than to sit back, close your eyes, and let the story take you into another world, another dimension. Because that's right. Sometimes we need to go somewhere, and sometimes I think history needs to be changed a little bit and altered. Because, right, what Native Americans were thought of and read about, it's about I wonder why you don't hear much or a lot of, or even movies. Just, cowboys and Indians going at it in the Civil War and the natives. You know, I'm sick of them kind of movies. Let's get ready for the new generation of movie making and the storytelling and stuff like this that needs to happen. I would like to find myself a skinwalker boy. Because I think, the Native Americans can say what they want. But you show that sucker respect. You sit there and show that creature that you're not there to step on sacred land. I think I'll catch something one day. Because you think about it, everybody that has encountered a skinwalker that hasn't died, it was only proven that thing was there to just give a little taste of what you're going to get if you come into this area and start making a mess. And that's exactly what this story's about, folks. Everything you could think about in the Native American culture is what brings me forth of this story. So sit back, relax, turn the light out. Better to be listen to in the dark so your imagination can flow. This is once again Chapter 5. Phil and Julie went to the library and started their search with 100+ books to look through. While outside, the beast was roaming, screaming in the distance, was heard by the couple, and Phil with Julie cringed, with hair staying on the back of their necks. They moved quickly, trying to find the book. Then all of a sudden, a huge thump downstairs made them jump out of their skin. Then a loud moaning started, like a sick, demented lunatic. Haunting, slow laugh that picked up to a demonic chuckle. Then heavy steps began throughout the house. Phil took a trifold wall and set it up into the library. As they frantically searched for the book, thumping began down the hallway to the library. Phil and Julie kept looking at the door. Then all of a sudden, a figure entered into the room. They both freezed up and stared at this. Wrinkled face, wide-eyed, huge teeth, missing skin. Just the sheer look of an unknown creature. It creeped towards the walls. Julie was trying not to make a sound. Phil put his finger to his lips, silently still looking for the book. Excuse me. The figure observing the wall looked around the wall like it saw Julie, but didn't even know that she was there. Julie was almost falling off a ladder because she froze while hanging towards the shelf. Julie just kept staring at the creature. Phil thought she was going to crack under pressure, the way this thing looked. But Phil started trying to keep her attention toward him. While looking at each other, the thing disappearing from the room, Julie saw the book, The Curse, by Chief Red River. She pulled it off the shelf and started to climb down the ladder. Phil, with eyes bugging out with excitement, with finding the book. But all of a sudden, the ruckus created led to the return of the creature. They ducked behind the desk. This thing hisses at the door with a disturbing sound. And peeking through the bottom of the desk and watching again this thing creep behind the wall. They hugged each other until the figure left, looking around the room. Making sure that it was gone, they slowly moved towards the door. Peeked down the hallway, seeing the coast was clear, and ran to the safe side of the house. But before they got to the point of turning right down the hall, the creature appeared with a chuckling growl. They stopped to run. They stopped to turn, and at the other end of the hallway, it began to quickly walk fast towards them. Julie tripped as they tried to run. They were a few feet away from the door to the safe room, and they quickly went into the room, then slammed the door shut to a big slam on the other side. They threw a dresser and a bookshelf, and sat on the bed holding each other. Eventually the noise stopped and they fell asleep with exhaustion. They were lucky to have slept throughout the night. Strange things happening throughout the house. Sometimes they would cringe and squeeze each other while sleeping. The next morning, Phil woke up to Julie clinging to his arm. He moved out of the bed and Julie jumped, but stayed in the bed as Phil showed the book. She knew he was about to start reading it. As soon as he opened it, he felt chills. It started off writing. Excuse me. My name is Tom Hender. I'm writing this book for a dear friend who happens to be a Native American. He is Chief Red River. He spilt more blood than the river he lived by. And that is used as an example. Because no one has counted but seen with their own eyes. He was only trying to protect his family and sacred land that I saw from my own eyes stolen from all Native Americans. That's why I write this book. He is up there with the great Chief Metacom of Mount Hope, Massachusetts. I will try to translate his words best I can. We met 2 summers ago. As he was 4 years out of war and finally settled an agreement with the English and French. He was the only chief to break the war off due to his Navajo curse, Skinwalker. A lot of the white men are now petrified and are done dealing with the death toll higher than the plague that hit when first settlers came to this land. At this moment, he's willing to tell his words on how the white man should start doing this to show the spirits of the Navajo tribe respect. And if they don't want this creature to continue havoc, when someone disrespects sacred land, it will not stop the beast, but it will keep it tamed. And it will only attack if tribes and land is disrespected. Or attacked. Otherwise, you will not see or hear it until the line is crossed. So if you want to show your respect, excuse me, you must do this. It must be under a full moon. Build a fire. Paint your face. And start the summons dance you will have to sing. Loud. Hey-ya, 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 chi. 4 times. Then scream. Ye-naw lushi. You sing this until the skinwalker appears. You will now move to the fire. Sit, then cross your legs. The skinwalker will bring some meat from a dead animal. It will expect you to eat the meat as it eats with you. The spirit of the skinwalker will then make you begin to follow it into the woods. After a while of walking, it will disappear. You will find a teepee-type wigwam where you are to stay there till daylight. You set up a bed, and if you can do this, you will show huge respect to the natives of the Navajo tribe. You will have some nightmares, visions, and dreams of the tragedy the Native Americans suffered throughout time in other sites. You will be surrounded by spirits, some good, some evil. They will try to make contact, trick, scare, and attack you. But all of this will happen during your sleep. If you leave and don't do the task, you will anger the spirit, and you will be left with the most terrifying nightmares or even death. What you are showing is no fear. That you have made this choice to go against the white man's law. You are for the Native American tribes and not against. A lot of men failed at this task because they were afraid of what one would think. They say you betrayed the way of the white man by doing this. But natives didn't deserve this, as when the white man came, the natives tried to be kind. Got a little eyeglass water there, damn it. And tried to be kind, gave and showed the white man how to live in this environment. Then they were betrayed. The natives in sacred land is what needs the respect and to be left alone, and to make the Native American spirits know that you are not here to disrespect Native Americans' nation. and the visions you will have throughout the night, and you make it until day, you will not be bothered by the skinwalker nor the spirits. Phil stopped reading and put the book down to rub his face, then ran his hands through his head. He sat and began to stare at Julie. Then they slowly fell asleep. By 8 p.m., they woke up to a loud bang, like it shook the house. They both jumped out of bed, looking around, trying to rub their eyes to wake. Oops, I was supposed to put 8 a.m. The sun shining in their eyes. Phil carefully made it his way to the kitchen. Julie followed. When there, he began to make coffee as Julie sat there with a blank stare. Phil started to speaking of what needed to be done. Julie's eyes bugged, asked Phil if he was crazy. He pulled out the book and she began to skim through the book and reading the intense parts, and she slammed the book down and started to shake her head no way. Phil really needed to convince her that this was the only way. But she was frightened, with the look of an insane person. So that is part 5 of the Trifold Dressing Walls. Sorry for the little goof-ups in it. Every time my eyes get watered, the letters change on me and I read something else. It's like, son of a bitch. But anyways, that's it. Part 6 coming in another video. Hope you enjoyed. Like I said, there's going to be a part 7. And I have pretty much gotten the ending coming to this to roundabout. But hey, I tell you, I don't know, a dream literally is putting into this story, and pretty much I would say a dream led me to write this story. So, till that next video, folks, be safe, take care, and always respect that Native American land. I think the skinwalker's been getting restless soon with all this work that's been going around throughout the United States. A lot of changes. A lot of disruption. Ha. Till that next video, folks. Out.